What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're covering some more r/Am I the Butthole? If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. Now, yesterday over on YouTube, we had Truecaller21 join us. Thank you so much for your support, and just thank you to all the members for, recommitting to the channel. It really does make a difference to everything that we do here, so thank you so much for your support. It really does mean the world to me, and for everyone for taking the time out of your day to be here, to click that like button, to watch the video all the way through. It makes a huge difference to this channel, and I thank you, because you are responsible for that. And I love you so much for it. And with that being said, let's just crack on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now let's start off with a batshit crazy story right here from Jess Christina. Am I the arsehole for asking my sister to leave after she tried to kick me out of my own house? My 26 female sister, who I'll call Emily, moved in with her husband, 29 male, who I'll call Roger, 2 years back. Emily and I were never very close, but we were family nonetheless. Recently, they decided to get their house renovated, and because it's been quite disastrous at their place, they decided if they could move in with me last week. I was a little shocked because we haven't spoken in a while, but I said it would be fine with me. Emily wanted to have a talk. She asked if her and Roger can have the place to themselves on Christmas Day and Christmas Eve. I asked where she thinks I can go. Her response? I don't know, get a motel. She continued to tell me how I can afford a couple of days in a motel and it won't kill me. She told me it's nothing against me, it's just they want to have their own traditions and like to spend the holiday together. They chose to get their house renovated during this time, knowing it would interfere with their Christmas traditions. So I asked them to leave. I can't put my life on hold and move out because they want to spend the holiday with each other. They won't be homeless. My parents took them in, but they called me absolutely infuriated because I refused to let them stay and wouldn't let them enjoy their holiday after all the trouble they went through with the renovations. Am I the arsehole? Now, instantly, we know this person's not going to be the arsehole. Who the hell goes into someone else's house and then expects them to move out for Christmas Eve and Christmas? I can't imagine someone with that attitude thinking, yeah, this is a perfectly valid thing to ask someone. And in their very small edit, they did explain, they do understand that they're not the arsehole, but their whole family turned against them. And what family does that too? I'd be very concerned if I had a family like that would turn against me because I refused to move out of my own house at Christmas. But Neutral Button says, not the arsehole. I'm not even sure how you could possibly think you're the arsehole here. What an audacious thing to ask you to do. And then Jess says, I didn't until my parents made me feel like the Grinch. And Xavier says, not the arsehole, lol. Wow, what self-entitled arseholes. Leave your home on Christmas Eve and Christmas, please, because we have our own traditions. An Unrivaled Super Hootie says, info. Are your parents leaving their house Christmas so your sister can host her annual sex under the tree? One more time now. Are your parents leaving their house on Christmas so your sister can host their annual sex under the tree party? Like, loud or kinky sex is the only thing that makes sense here for why she asked you to leave your own house. Obviously not the arsehole. Raven says, not the arsehole. That's just insane. Who asks that? Be happy someone is letting you stay at their place for a while. Will they ask your parents to leave their home now so they can have Christmas, or is it just you who they would ask this of? And Beefub says, not the arsehole. Your sister is off her rocker. Your parents are out of line too. If her and her husband want to be alone for the holiday, they can go to a hotel. And the Mirror's Truth says, not the arsehole. Was it straight up indignation that kept you from laughing? That's so messed up. Your sister sounds horrific and mummy and daddy enable her. Now, what do you think about this crazy story? Obviously, it's going to be a not the arsehole in this situation. But what would you do if like one of your siblings came up to you and asked this question? I would piss myself, to be quite honest. Oh dear. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And our next story is from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for refusing to listen to my parents and wanting to sue my cousin for a prank? I, 31 male, recently had my cousin, male 21, move in with me after he got kicked out of his college dorm and had no job to pay for rent. My parents told me I needed to step up and help because I own a house, live alone with my 2 golden retrievers and 2 birds that I had since last year. My cousin would make fun of me whenever I call my pets family and thinks I'm crazy. He has a bad sense of humour and thinks he's funny. He calls me funny nicknames like Robot, Terminator, Optimus Prime and others because I wear a prosthetic leg that I've gotten since I had an infection 2 years ago. I had been patient with him causing a mess and not even doing his laundry. It's been 3 months and it's too much already. So recently he started doing pranks and using personal things in his pranks, like clothes, my phone, stuff from the kitchen, etc. I usually take off my prostheses before going to bed, and since I work all day I go to bed early and like him, he stays up till 3 to 4 am. He decided to do a prank and hid my prostheses somewhere. I saw that it was gone in the morning. He did it twice before he hid it in his room and the garage. I had enough of his bullshit and asked him where he took it and he joked and said it was inside the fridge. I was livid. I started screaming at him to stop it and tell me where my prostheses was before I kicked him out. He realised I was being serious and told me it was in the attic. I let him go and get it, and when he brought it to me, he looked worried and started apologising when he saw the socket had cracks. The adjustment pyramid and pylon were damaged. He told me he hid it under the old TV and didn't think it was this fragile. It was there overnight, so the damage has already been done. I lost my shit and I yelled at him while all he did was apologise, saying it was a prank, bro, which made it worse. I told him to leave and called my aunt to tell her about what her son did and she needed to pay for the damages. Her reaction was shocking. She said it was my fault because I knew how her son is and decided to take him anyway, and that she won't take responsibility for his actions. I told her I'd seriously sue because I'm broke and have no money to pay for prostheses and crutches are unbearable. I was so angry I kept lashing out at everyone, especially my mum and dad who argued with me saying that I can't sue family and this is my cousin and he meant no harm. I told him that he created this situation and needed to fix it. They called me awful for refusing to wait till Christmas is over, and once the family gathering is over, they'll figure something out. I told them to stay out of it, but until now, they're telling me to not cause an issue. We're in the holidays, and suing my cousin will make them look bad to everyone. I'm stuck with crutches feeling awful after they try to shut me up and told me to wait till holidays are over, then they'll raise money for me, and my cousin gets away with it. Edit, my dad offered to fix it himself, but this is ridiculous. He thinks this is some object like a CD player or a TV he can fix. I called him ridiculous to his face and I didn't let him touch it. He clearly thinks it's no big deal. I stopped taking his calls because he doesn't realise how big of an issue this is. Holy shit! Everyone talking about it in this story, like the mum, the dad, the cousin, they're all talking about it like he just broke a glass on the side of the kitchen or something like that. This is the guy's leg, man. Something that he uses every day to help him walk. And like the last story, who thinks of this stuff? Who thinks hiding someone's prosthetic leg is a prank? I try to get into the mindset of these people and sometimes I just cannot do it. There's like a block there. I'm like, I can't get into that mindset. Who thinks like that? The sad thing is though, even if OP does sue in this situation, I'm not saying they shouldn't sue, would they actually get any money? You know, we've seen this situation time and time again where, you know, the person sues and the person doesn't have any money anyway, so they can't pay. But in this situation, I'd definitely kick his ass out straight away and then lay it on thick with the rest of the family. The aunt, your mum and dad, they're all to blame for this. They all put pressure on you to take him in. You did at the kindness of your heart, and now you're suffering for it. Absolutely not the arsehole in this situation. But Dead Girl Talking says, not the arsehole. Dude, you've got to have your leg, for fuck's sake. Your family need to replace it immediately. Expecting you to use crutches till after the holidays to save Christmas or whatever is abusive nonsense. There wouldn't be any trouble to start with had your grown cousin not ruined your prostheses with a terrible, stupid and immature prank. And OP replies, my parents only care about what outsiders think about them and never solve an issue or deal with a problem and expect me to just take it because we shouldn't be treating family like this. In other words, they have no respect for boundaries. And OP replies once again saying, I don't care what he's going to do. I'm not taking him back. I've been too nice and he's caused me an issue that was preventable and now refusing to take responsibility. And the family is backing him up and making excuses for him. And Drunk on Martini says, not the arsehole. Obviously he's terrible, but if you sue him, would you even get any money? You said he's broke. You'll only get paid if there is money to be had, and you can't sue his parents because he's an adult and they have nothing to do with it. Definitely kick him the hell out and ask your family to help you buy a new one, as they mentioned. To maximise your chances of getting the money from them, I would recommend being low-key about it, catching more flies with honey, etc. Edit to add, if it were me, that guy would be dead to me. I'd pretend he doesn't even exist. Don't get dragged into a big argument or anything. Also, I'm sorry you have to use crutches. That sucks really bad. That kid deserves to be beat over the head with one. And I think, it's really sad, but I think this comment might be right, playing it cool and trying to get your family to actually pay for a new prosthesis. It might be the right way to go, just playing it cool for now until you actually get it and, then get them out of your life if you want to. Because can't see there's any other way of getting it back at this moment. If they haven't got money and, they're holding it back to after Christmas, what else can you do? And Nemesina77 says, not the arsehole, screw what they're saying. He's 21, not 12. He's never going to learn if he isn't forced to take responsibility. Go to the cops and have him charged with destruction of property, then file civil charges for the replacement cost. Never let anyone tell you family means letting them get away with crap like this. And Dangerfield says, not the arsehole, he is utterly reprehensible. He's the one in need and proceeds to not only take advantage but mock you and make your life more difficult. He's shown that family doesn't mean anything to him, so show the word has no meaning when you've been treated like this, because it really doesn't. Evict him, check your options and do it legally, and sue him for damages. Might even be able to get in something like emotional distress. He's 21, an adult in every sense of the word. Time he faced actual consequences for his actions, as clearly his parents are utterly useless. And finally, Amarasov says, not the arsehole, get your expensive medical equipment covered by the responsible party and regain your peace of mind in having your home to yourself. You do not deserve to go through this kind of trauma after trying to help someone. Now, I'm going to turn it to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation? And can you actually get like any kind of insurance for this kind of stuff? Just something that popped in my head right there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And our next story is from Smile Throwaway. Am I the arsehole for asking my girlfriend to stop smiling so widely for photos? I, 43 male, met a woman, 34 female, online several months ago. We began talking and really hit it off. She's a really pretty woman, but she does have a slight flaw to her physical appearance. She had a bad case of TMJ, which makes it so that when she gives a big smile, one side of her mouth curls up into a huge grin, while the other side basically stays still. Every selfie we've taken together has her looking like this. While I absolutely accept this is just a condition she has, I wish she would do what she can to make it less noticeable. We've recently started talking about becoming engaged. Both sets of our parents are ecstatic since they both apparently thought that grandkids weren't happening from either of us. But when the subject of engagement photos came up, I told her that she should not smile quite so broadly so as to let her true, natural beauty shine through. She got really angry at this and said that the curled up lip on one side is her natural beauty since it's her. She said that she isn't even sure if marrying me is a good idea. I'm the youngest of 4 kids in my family and the only boy. My father, 71 male, when he heard about this told me it's no wonder that none of the relationships have worked out through all these years, and thought that I need to apologise to her and beg her forgiveness. My mother, 67 female, said that I should have been nicer, but that she understands. I know all of this sounds bad, but I just really want her to be at her best. That's not for my sake, but for hers. Oh god. Do you know when you got your face in your hands and you don't want to take it out? This is one of those moments. Oh my word. So your girlfriend has a medical condition that, affects her smile and you have an issue with it. She doesn't seem to have any issue with it and, sounds like she's got a big, beautiful smile. But you have this issue with it. You're embarrassed about it. That makes you the arsehole instantly, dude. And trying to put myself in her position, obviously I can't totally, but if someone said something like that to me, I had a medical condition and someone criticised it and told me to stop doing it because, you're embarrassed about it pretty much, I'm not sure if I'd want to be with that person anymore, because they're thinking about me in that way. I'd be embarrassed to smile in future photos, just embarrassed to smile in general. I'm pretty sure that would put a big issue in my mind about it, and it'd be constantly on my mind then whenever I smile or do something like that. So yes, you're absolutely the arsehole. Boy, you best pray to someone that she forgives you, because I wouldn't blame her if she didn't. You are the arsehole in this situation. But Miss Barney5 says you're the arsehole and quotes, I know all of this sounds bad, but I just really want her to be at her best. That's not for my sake, but for hers. And then says, liar, your girlfriend isn't uncomfortable with her smile. It actually sounds like she likes it. You're the one who is embarrassed. What would be best for her sake is if she didn't marry you because you put perfect photos ahead of her happiness. Then Acceptable Letter says, "You're the arsehole and most likely will be single again very soon." Yoshi Boshi says, "You're the arsehole, you have an issue with how she is smiling, and from a medical condition no less." An Affectionate Liar says, "You're the arsehole, you should never ever do that. Apologise right now. Her smile is a natural beauty, and if you're offended by the pictures, she deserves better. You're 43 years old and you should know better." And Slithery Pringle says, "If you want her to be at her best, then let her smile however she wants. Your dad is 100% correct, and you are a huge arsehole. You're the arsehole." The Unlikely Llama says, "You're the arsehole. Was already wary of you for having a 9-year age difference in your relationship. Now you're dating a woman practically a decade younger than you, who has probably been very self-conscious of this aspect of her physical appearance, and instead of the love of her life accepting and supporting her, he's worried about what the pictures will look like. You're the arsehole." And My Fickle Mind says, and quotes, "While I absolutely accept this is a condition she has, I wish she would do what she can to make it less noticeable." And then says, "Accepting it means not trying to change it. You can't have it both ways. You're the arsehole." Now, what would you do in this situation? Imagine being in that girlfriend's shoes and you had a medical condition like that affects your smile or your physical appearance, and then someone made like a comment on it for you to somehow hide it in some way. How would you feel? Let us know in the comments below. Wow. And our next story is from Wild Compot 3256. "Am I the arsehole for telling my sister her oldest stepkids are not welcome at parties / in my home again? My older sister Jess has been married for the last decade to her husband Michael. Michael was a widower with 5 kids when they met. The kids are now Kyle 17, Ella 16, Josie 13, Emma and Chase 12 in the new year. Jess and Michael also have 2 kids together who are 5 and 2. To make a long story very short, Kyle and Ella have never accepted my Jess in their lives, and I will say here now, they despise my sister for marrying their dad. They have never stopped despising her. Over the 10 years, my sister has talked to me so many times about how much she has struggled to find a bond with Kyle and Ella. She has tried, I will never say she hasn't, but they don't want anything to do with her. They have acted out so many times, they have been in therapy, but they don't want it, and it feels like they are always being grounded for treating my sister like shit and ignoring the youngest too. I remember at our brother's wedding 2 years ago, Kyle had an outburst in front of everyone that my sister was nothing and she needed to fuck off and leave him and his siblings alone because they would never really love her and she would never be as good as their mum was. Michael tried to get him out of there, but Kyle was mad. The venom in his words was mind-blowing, and honestly, then I truly believed he truly hated my sister. Before that, I'd bought what everyone else has said, and Ella just needed time to come to terms, but I truly believe he hates her. This brings me on to why I'm writing this. Back in early February, my oldest turned 3, and we had a small party at home with some family and close friends. Kyle and Ella treated us terribly, and while it's not exactly a shock they don't like us, Ella told my 3-year-old that they weren't cousins and to fuck off and leave her and her brother alone. Then she and Kyle made a big deal out of being included in a photo of all the cousins, which led to them both making my brother's son, 6, and their sister, 5, cry because none of them are family and we can all fuck off and leave them the fuck alone. They also said something about my sister that blew us all away. Jess and Michael left with the kids, and afterwards I thought about it and decided enough was enough and I needed to protect my kids. So I told Jess that Kyle and Ella are not welcome in my home and they will not be invited to further parties. Jess thinks I'm behaving unfair because they are family, and how will they ever come around if they are excluded? I think she's a little crazy to think that they will come around. Am I the arsehole? You know, in these stories, I always hate judging too harshly. I know they're 16 and 17. A lot of people say they are adults, you know, and they're old enough to know better. But they sound like they've been through quite a lot as well. That there's something deeper going on. There's clearly something deeper going on, right? And I know it doesn't excuse shitty behavior to be talking to kids and stuff like that. But what is going on? I always try to think what they might be going through in their minds. Is it mental illness? Is it grief? What is it? What is happening here? For them to be lashing out that way, and will a simple conversation and setting boundaries for them, will that help at all? Have you ever had a sit down and said, look, if you carry on down this path, you will have to leave? And just saying, what is the problem? Why do you hate her so much? And yes, it might not make any difference at all, but just trying, you know, just trying with a 16 and 17-year-old. They are young, they are, you know, still discovering themselves. I know 16 and 17, and I know I just said it a minute ago, is, you know, pretty much nearly adults, right? But we were all stupid back then as well. I know some of you are going to say, no, I'm not, and fair enough, but I was, okay? But let's check out some comments and maybe get some clarity. But Princessity says, not the arsehole, just because she's okay with how her stepkids treat her doesn't mean anybody else should have to deal with it. They clearly don't want to be there, so she can't force them and can't force anyone to accept them. And Bonnie Bluer says, not the arsehole, the sooner Kyle and Ella find out their actions have consequences, the better. Maybe let them come one more time and say to their faces why they aren't welcome in your home any longer. In front of everybody too, since that's how they roll. And Opie replies, oh, I don't believe they will care. They hate us too much to care about being excluded. It's what they want. And Erratic Bonsai says, info, what exactly is the timeline here and how did your sister and her husband meet? Based off what you said, they've been married for 10 years. Presumably dad didn't jump right back into a dating pool for a bit after his first wife died. And since the absolute longest she could be dead is just under 12 years, that leaves 2 years for him to grieve, meet your sister and get married again, all with a newborn baby. That's pretty damn fast. The oldest 2 children would have been 6 and 7 when they got married and were probably 4 or 5 when their mother died. They probably don't even have solid memories of her, and in my experience, unless there's something else going on, children that young don't get that violently angry at their step-parents and hang on to a grudge for a decade. This all just doesn't add up. And OP replies saying, he met and married my sister within a few short months of his first wife's death. And the disciple Matt says, not the arse, those kids clearly need help, but that isn't the focus of this thread or your problem. Draw your boundaries. If those 2 don't get professional help and they want to continue blowing up everybody's life, I don't blame you at all for not wanting them near your family. Who openly invites a hand grenade with a pulled pin into their home? Good shout. Yeetus Deletus Fetus says, not the arsehole, these kids sound horrible. You don't need to have them around if they're that toxic. Keep supporting your sister. She doesn't deserve their shit. Telling a 3-year-old to fuck off. Jesus. And OP replies once again saying they ignore the existence of their youngest siblings too. They will interact and play with the younger 3 full siblings but will actively exclude and ignore the 2 little ones. They won't even take a photo with everyone and they have never had any positive interaction with them. Now before I do get jumped on as well, I'm not saying that, their behaviour is completely excused. Swearing at younger children is absolutely disgusting behaviour, but I am always just curious about what's going through people's mind and what's made them like this. Are they just toxic people? Is that possible? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Now, once again, guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you have enjoyed today's stories. And today is the last day of the Christmas competition. So if you haven't got your entries in, be sure to get them in over on Discord. And I'm going to be looking over them over the next week or so and then judging, which is the best, which gives me the most Christmassy feel. And just a huge thank you for taking part and for being involved with the channel, for joining all the new members. It's been absolutely amazing. This month in general has been an absolute blast. And just a thank you for everything you do for me. And I will see you, hopefully if you enjoyed the content of course, in the next one. Take care guys. Much love.